feel like there's a lot of things I need to address. Number one, not really having a good day. My face just looks a bit bad. But I think you've seen like my entire t-shirt wardrobe or my entire like top wardrobe. So now we've resorted to hoodies. Also, my tongue is blue. My tongue is blue because I had one of those blue lollies. My tongue, lips and teeth are probably blue, and if that distracts you, I don't know what to tell you. I've also pre-filmed a lot of other videos, so if I end up mentioning this wrap up in those videos as if they haven't gone up yet, it's because I filmed them before I filmed this one. I only filmed 2. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome back to whatever the fuck this is. I still have no idea. Today I'm doing my July reading wrap up, which is basically where I go through every single book I read in the month of July. I've read 12 books this month, which is excellent. I'm also currently reading a book right now. I just want to jump straight into this because I don't want to be recording for ages. Okay, I'm not in the mood. I didn't read a single physical book. I feel like I should scoot over a little bit so I can put the cover right here. Starting off with the Ravenhood trilogy, I read this series July 1st to July 3rd. Yeah, I hated this series though. I just wanted it to be over. I was excited because I hear a lot of people really like this series. They say it's their favourite. It's so like cool. The vibes are giving. I'm here to tell you the vibes weren't giving. In terms of explaining the synopses of this series, a lot of people say that it's better to go in completely blind and you get the best experience. I went in completely blind and thought it was terrible. So if that's how you get the best experience, I feel like I should just not tell you a single thing about this book. But if you do want to know what this series is about, a very brief, not really giving anything away. This girl who's like 19 years old moves to go live with her dad because she has to work for her dad's company for a year in order to get her inheritance. And then she meets these boys and takes an interest into them. We go from there. Flock, I gave 2 stars. I thought it was really bad. It's so fake deep. It's so fake woke and fake deep. I'll give you like an example. One of the guys that she meets, every time that she's around him, he makes her like not have her phone with her. Like if she has her phone, then he's like going off on one at her. I was like, girl, I was like, honey, we need to pipe down. Like what in the actual fake woke is this? And also he like has this whole outwardly spoken monologue about why he thinks weed should be legalized. Like I don't care if weed's legalized or not. It's just the way that he was droning on about it. I was like, girl, please have a drink. Like I'm so sick of hearing you have a little whine about this to Cecilia. However, Exodus, I gave Exodus 3 stars. It was a lot better than Flock, but it still wasn't good. People cried at this book. I don't know why. I like this book more because we get a new character in this book that I love. The like banter between 2 of these characters in Exodus is so good and it's so fun to read about. And then the finish line I gave 2 stars. Droned on a little bit. I know a lot of people when they describe this series, they say you read the first book, when you read it you get really confused and then you'll get some answers at the end, but then you'll just have more questions. So then you go into Exodus hoping that those questions will get answered, but you only get more questions, and then you read the finish line and everything is like wrapped up in a bow. I can confirm that is what happens. However, I didn't like it. When I got to the finish line, I was like, I'm so done with this series that I was basically skimming it. I was like, I just want it to be over. I don't even care what the answers are anymore. A lot of people try to say that the finish line is like completely separate to Flock and Exodus. It's not. There are questions that you'll have by the end of Flock that do get answered in the finish line. So if you're still confused and you want to get to the bottom of the story, I do recommend you don't skip the finish line. But if you don't like the series, don't read finish line. The book isn't good by any means. You just get some answers that I guess you've probably been asking since book 1. Anyways, moving on. Afterwards, I read Reckless King by Maya Hughes. This is book 2 in Kings of Rittenhouse series. College ice hockey romance. Very much if you like off campus, you'll probably want to give this one a try as well. I did like this book. I gave it 3 stars though. It was average. I don't even know what the trope is. If it's the trope that I'm thinking of in my head, you don't even get to that until like halfway into the book, but you already know who the 2 love interests are because it's dual POV. Like it's hard to explain what the trope is. If you want a synopsis of like right at the beginning, basically just this guy and this girl kind of have a one night stand. Not really one night stand, but like yes, it's a one night stand, but they have the intention of like speaking to each other afterwards, and it's a romance from there. That was really bad. I don't know how to explain this without spoiling anything. You've also got the trope of like they have to work together in college for something, but I can't tell you what that something is because it kind of gives stuff away. Like really hard to explain. I really like the girl character. I can't remember her name. I think it might be Cara, maybe. I really liked her character. Yes, it was good. I liked her storyline as well. This book I do recommend. I do recommend Kings of Rittenhouse. Book 1, Shameless King, I preferred, but Reckless King isn't that bad. It's pretty good. It's fine. After that, I kept up with my sports romance grind and I read Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This book is also 3 stars. This is like the lower end of 3 stars. Oh my god, this book is so long. It was so long for no reason. Also, like the last third of this book was terrible. From like the third act conflict, oh my god, the book just went downhill. You know, like when authors kind of just chuck in something random or something really out of left field for what? That's what happened in this book and I didn't like it. It's kind of a shame because I was actually kind of enjoying the book up until that point and then it just went I don't really know how to explain the synopsis of this book. It's giving love triangle, but you know exactly who the girl is going to end up choosing. So it's not really a love triangle. Why would you like set up a love triangle when it's so blatantly obvious who the girl's going to end up choosing? But anyways, it's about this one girl who I literally don't know the name of. I'm so sorry. But she has this friend group in high school and they always go to like this summer house. In the summer of senior year, before they start college, they go to this summer house again, have some fun, live their best lives. When we're at this summer house, we meet this guy called Noah and Noah's like, oh my god, you're so cute, and the girl's like, oh my god, you're cute too. But then this girl also has a crush on like her brother's best friend and there's a whole shit going on there, and then they all go to the same college with each other, which love that for you, love the goals, and the love triangle kind of continues, but then it also like stops because she ends up choosing one of them and they have really good chemistry and really good romance. The guy, I love him, and then shit hit the fan and book went bad. That's my synopsis of this book. You're probably sick of me talking about these mid-tier books. Let me talk to you about an absolutely excellent gem. A 5 stars, should be 6-star gem. We have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. One of the best books I've ever read in my entire life. It's amazing. If you don't know, I already have a video talking about all my 5-star reads. I will leave a card in the top right corner, which I assume is here. Might not be. I'll also link it in the description. This book should be in that video, but I obviously read it now, not then. I really think you should go into this book knowing nothing. It's not like mysterious or anything. It's very much Gossip Girl, but it's also very toxic, okay? If you don't like toxic relationships, you will hate this book. But it was so good. It was done so well. Like, I've read the first 2 books of the After series, and that's like a toxic relationship, and it's just terrible. I can get behind Magnolia Parks. I can get behind this one. It was so good. We're following this girl. Guess what her name is? Magnolia Parks. It's kind of a romance, kind of not. Very untraditional romance between this girl called Magnolia and this guy called BJ. Kind of an unfortunate name, but we'll get over it. They used to date when they were like in high school, and then something happened that made them break up, but they're still like so close because they have this very toxic relationship, but they're also part of the same friend group, which is such a close-knit family type bond. They're so in love with each other to the point where it's actually kind of dangerous. You should not be rooting for, but at the same time, I'm rooting for them. There's some people who read who have common sense and are like, girl, these people are not good for each other, they should not be together. But then there's me who's like, I know, but also I love them together. This book has quite a few tropes in it, but they're all very like not what you expect. They're all very like not traditional. Like we have the fake dating trope, but it's not your traditional fake dating trope. We also have found family trope, which is so good. I loved it. One of my favourite parts of this book, honestly, was the found family. I love the friend group in this book. Oh my god, it's so addictive. This book is also part of a wider universe. There are only 3 books out right now. The reading order goes Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates, and then Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home. I haven't read the other 2 yet, but I hope to soon. And I really want these books in paperback. Maybe next month I'll buy them, but we'll see. I actually tell a lie. I read 1 paperback this month. I reread The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I actually forgot I reread this, and I literally reread it like 2 weeks ago. I actually reread this with the full intention of just annotating it. I didn't tab it, I just wrote inside. I don't really want to show you my annotations because I don't annotate like a normal person. I kind of just write things that I think are funny, and so I did that with this book because I wanted to reread it in general because I forgot what it was about. I wanted to jog my memory about what this book's about. I literally read it last year. I obviously didn't retain much, but I retained a lot more now. I don't particularly like this book. I think it's kind of boring. A lot of people who don't typically read classic literature say that this is their favourite classic novel. It's not that good, guys. I feel like y'all are being held at gunpoint by F. Scott himself. It's not that good. Not everyone can have good taste, I guess. Opening this book to me is just really funny because I'll open it and I just annotate some really random shit. For example, when Gatsby first calls Nick old sport, I put, sorry, but I fucking hate this phrase. I cannot wait to constantly read it for the next 100 pages. You want to know how I annotate? That's how I annotate. It's different when I'm like tabbing and shit because I highlight a phrase that I really like. But in terms of annotating classics, that's what I do. I kind of just make fun of the book. Or I'll write like pop culture references and stuff. I have a lot of like music references annotated in The Great Gatsby. Like for example, there's like a quote where Daisy says, let's go to town. And I thought, okay, Doja. Because Doja Cat has a song called Go to Town. You get the joke. I read an romance this month. I actually read 2. First one, Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. I read this because the next book in this series, which is called Husband material comes out next month. So I wanted to get this one read and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It was so good. It was really funny. I also just thought the relationship was great. I don't know what it is about romances. They're so much better. Like the ones that I've read are so good. Boyfriend material is a fake dating trope. It's about this guy called Luke. He has a famous dad, so he's like famous by association. He like works for a charity, but then he ends up getting caught by paparazzi doing some shit that gets his name in the press. A lot of donors for his charity that he works for start pulling out. Then his boss is like, girl, you need to start looking more professional. Like we can't be having all these donors pulling out. Like this is embarrassing for us. Then one of his co-workers is like, just find a boyfriend. And so he's like, okay. And one of his friends sets him up with this other guy called Oliver. And that is the start of the fake dating relationship between Luke and Oliver. And it's so good. Some of the jokes kind of didn't land with me, but the majority of them did. I did like it. Overall, I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. I'm very excited for husband material. Okay, the second romance that I read was Forbidden Mafia Prince by Ella Frank and Brooke Blaine. These two wrote another one of my 5-star series, the Elite Trilogy. And because I love that series, I had very high expectations going into this book. This is book 1 of a duet that isn't out yet. Book 2 isn't out yet, so I only read book 1. And it was okay. I gave it 3 stars because I think the romance took a bit of a backseat for this book. I don't know, there was a lot of plot, not a lot of romance, but by the time like final third of this book, the romance was just getting good, and then it just ended, but it ended on a really good cliffhanger, so I obviously will have to pick up the second book. The plot was just too plotty for me, and the romance was not enough romancy for me, but I have a feeling that book 2 is going to amp up the romance a lot more, since this was like the foundation to get these relationships and these connections and these like storylines like conveyed, and then book 2 we can still have a lot of plot, still have a lot of storyline, but have more romance. I recommend this book for anyone who's interested in a gay mafia romance, because I've never read a gay mafia romance, so I was very excited. The final set of books I read is a series. It's the Twisted series by Ana Huang. I read the first 3. Twisted Love, I gave the book 4 stars. I thought it was so good. Alex Volkov is one of my new favourite book boyfriends. No one's topping Garrett Graham. Maybe in the future, but right now no one's topping Garrett Graham, but Alex Volkov is a close second. Ever since I read that book, I cannot stop thinking about the 40,000. Damn. I thought it was expensive. I love that quote. It's giving I hate everyone in the world but you. It's giving touch her and I'll kill you. The scene where the girl is doing a photo shoot with that guy. Oh my god, very much touch her and I'll kill you. Oh my god. It's brother's best friend, kind of forced proximity. Like the tropes were troping. Twisted Games book 2, I gave 3 stars. I think this book taught me that I don't like the royalty trope, which is a shame when the entire book centers around a princess. This book is split into 2 parts, and part 1 was amazing and part 2 was not amazing. The royalty trope just doesn't work for me, but part 1 was so good. The bodyguard trope was everything. The like festival scene, I love it so much. I understand the hype. Twisted Hate, I literally just finished it this morning. Loved it. It was really long, but at the same time I loved it. This follows Jules and Josh, enemies with benefits, best friend's brother. The quick comebacks and the banter between Josh and Jules was incredible to read. Right now, just started reading Misfit by Elle Kennedy.
Right, so I'm actually editing the video you're watching right now. Since recording that video, I've actually finished Misfit. In that video, because I literally just started, I was like, I have no idea what it's about. I finished it, so I do know what it's about, but even then, I don't really know how to describe the synopsis. This book is set at this like boarding school for like delinquent boys. I'm pretty sure everyone in the book is like 18, I think, like all in senior year, so vibes. It's a romance. It has like multiple different POVs. The 2 main characters who the romance is between, it's called RJ and Sloane. RJ goes to this boarding school and Sloane is the head teacher's daughter. There's a lot of plot in this book as well, but I think the plot and romance is very well distributed in the book. I'm actually really intrigued to read book 2. What is this even about? Like, I don't know. It's about like rich teens getting up to shit and living their lives. I really enjoyed the main character RJ. He's just really funny to me, so and yeah, I give it 4 stars. It was really good. And now we'll go back to me actually filming to end this video.
Anyways, those are all, I'm pretty sure, 12 books that I read this month. Tell me if you've also read any of these books at all, what you thought of them. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you like romance books, I would say subscribe, because I also like romance books. I make a lot of videos about romance books. I'm gonna go now because I'm gonna keep on reading Misfit by Elle Kennedy. So I'll see you whenever I post my next video. Goodbye.